Look, obviously, fantastic finish for Nassourdine Imavov. Good first round for Israel Adesanya. Talk to me about your thoughts of the fight and how you saw it playing out until the finish.
I thought Izzy looked incredible right up until he got caught. Looked good. Was picking him apart, staying on the outside. Takedown defense was incredible. Chopping that calf kick, you know, the whole first round. He couldn't have had a better first round, and then he got caught.
Do you feel it's one of those things where, like, he got caught, or is it one of those things where Handman age might be catching up to him, he might be slowing down? Which one do you think it could be?
Listen, getting caught is getting caught. He's 35. Imavov is 28 years old. He's in his prime.
That said, it was an amazing first round. Anyone trying to count out Israel as being competitive in this division is probably incorrect at this point.
I agree. No, he looked incredible. I mean, you couldn't have fought a better first round than he did. He had his face busted up. He had his leg busted up in that first round.
Co-main event, you know, MVP basically shut down Shara. You could tell Shara didn't really know what to do with him. When you play Michael Venom Page's game, you're going to really struggle, I feel. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that you have to be aggressive with Page. It's a weird situation to be in fighting him because he's a counter striker, and he sort of sits back, waits for you to, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
And then Pavlovich versus Rozenstruik, two big heavy hitters. Didn't turn out to be a great fight, realistically.
Horrible.
Yep. Yeah.
Horrible fight.
Yeah. That division is kind of in a weird spot, right? Like, we know Tom and John is the target, but if you don't make that fight, Cyril versus Volkov, weird fight. This fight tonight, weird fight. There's no real contenders sort of pushing through the rankings in that division right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's, listen, we can say that the fight sucked. We didn't like the fight. Sergei won. You know what I mean? He won the fight. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't fun to watch. The only fight all night that got booed. But he won at the end of the day. And styles make fights. And normally, it's not like he's normally in bad fights. The guy comes in and throws hard punches. And tonight it just wasn't fun. I mean, let's face it. Francis and Derek Lewis was probably one of the shittiest fights of all time, in every fight that's ever happened. But you look at those two separately, and it wasn't their night tonight, and it wasn't an exciting fight. But it doesn't diminish what Sergei's capable of doing, or any other fights that could happen in the heavyweight division. But the big fight you were talking about needs to happen.
I agree.
Yes.
Two things outside of tonight. I saw Khamzat Chimaev today got his UAE passport. There have been some questions about his being able to enter the United States. Do you think this new passport will help it out?
Don't listen to any of that bullshit. He'll get in the United States.
Okay, cool. And then,
I'm very confident that...
do you know a guy?
I'm very confident that we can get him into the country.
Okay, cool.
MVP said that down the line he would fight...
Who did?
MVP.
Yeah.
He said that down the line he would fight Leon Edwards. Would you do that fight for the British fans?
That's interesting. I don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Right now, big stars of the UFC are partaking in reality shows. They become captains of reality show MMA teams. What do you feel about that? Do you know about those?
No.
Tsarukian, Chimaev. They're like hype MMA shows that are over in Russia, and now Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling are doing it over in Thailand. So, what do you know about it? How do you feel about it?
I know nothing about it. I've never heard of it.
Shara Bullet became a superstar in a very short span of time. He met Cristiano Ronaldo. He had dinner with Turkey. Do you think that potentially he crumbled under pressure? Because sometimes it happens when you rise that quick, you kind of crumble.
No, I think styles make fights, and MVP is a very tough style to fight. He lays back and counter punches, and it's like I was saying earlier to him. If you go in and you go guns a-blazing against him, he's a real good counterpuncher. And if you have a hard time getting off, there's a lot of standing around and staring at each other. And he's a hard style to fight. I don't think this diminishes him in any way, and I don't think it had anything to do with him freezing or that. And let's not forget the guy has one eye. That doesn't help.
Rafael Fiziev, one of the greatest strikers in the lightweight division, said that he was offered to fight for September, December, all these other months, and still to this day he does not have a straight date for when he's fighting. Do you know anything about, what's happening with him? When is he coming back? Fiziev.
So he's saying that he's been ready to fight for months and we haven't given him a fight? Or is it? Yeah. Apparently it's much more complicated than that. Sounds like bullshit to me. Sounds like bullshit to me.
And you being so close to Donald Trump, are you going to be part of the government?
No.
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 I just had to ask.
Hell no.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Then we mentioned Georgia 2 days ago, and now we mentioned Spain. Ilya's brother is fighting next week. So what is your expectations for Alexander Topuria, and will we see two brothers on same card in Spain sometime soon?
I don't know. Listen, I've been talking about Spain for a while now. We're still trying to get it worked out, and hopefully we do an event there this year. And sure, if his brother is good, would love to see both of them on the card. Yeah.
You were sitting next to Cristiano Ronaldo. He was watching Shara's fight. He was here to support Shara. How did he react to his loss?
How did he react? Yeah, he was a fan of Shara, and they had met, and he was rooting for him.
Did he get upset, like visibly upset?
Did he get upset? I don't know. You'd have to ask them that. I mean, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Maybe you were asked this before, but so what's next for Sergei? Should there be a rematch, possibly with a rematch with Volkov potentially for Sergei Pavlovich?
Yeah, again, the fight just happened an hour ago. I have no idea what's next. He won tonight. Whether you like the fight or didn't like the fight, he won tonight, and we'll figure out what's next for him. But I'm not figuring it out right now.
Is it bad for the company that there's less and less American champions, and we're getting champions from Dagestan or Caucasus, Georgia, or anywhere else? For instance, in lightweight division, there hasn't been an American champion since 2016.
I'll tell you a fascinating thing about this business that we always talk about. I was in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and we had an Armenian versus a Dagestani Russian as the main event. Place was packed, going crazy. We can go to Arizona with a Brazilian versus a Canadian. It's back in the days of boxing, if you went into LA, you needed a Mexican. If you went into New York, you needed a Puerto Rican. If you went into other cities, you'd need somebody that was raised there or from there. Not the case with MMA. This is a global business, and MMA fans love whoever the best in the world is, whoever they believe has the potential to be the best in the world. It's a completely different model than boxing. It's fascinating. We talk about it all the time.
You said you're preparing something special for Islam. Is it in his weight class or a different weight class?
As soon as we announce it, you'll know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Where would you rank Cristiano Ronaldo in the top athletes of all time?
Well, I mean, I'm not a big soccer guy, but as far as superstars, I mean, he's one of the biggest superstars ever. And you know what I like about him too is as popular, as successful, and as wealthy as he's become, he's a very nice, humble guy. I like him. He's a very nice guy.
Any news about Conor? Is he coming back soon?
Conor?
Yeah.
I'm not sure when Conor will be back.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Based on tonight's outcome, are there any matchups you're excited to see in the future?
On tonight's outcome, I was just saying a lot of the fights weren't great tonight. But yeah, obviously, Imavov is going to go up in the rankings now. He looked Listen, Imavov looked incredible tonight against a very good-looking Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya busted him up in that first round, and he came out in the second round and knocked him out. So yeah, I would say, the guy who really shined tonight was Imavov. What's the question?
Would you ever put Nassourdine Imavov versus Hamzat for a #1 contender fight? I spoke to Nassourdine backstage. He didn't want to answer that question. He said that he's waiting for the winner of Dricus versus Strickland.
Who doesn't want to answer the question? Imavov?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I mean, the fight just happened 30 minutes ago. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but there's lots of possibilities. And yes, that's definitely one of them.